What's going on YouTube? Welcome to the first in what hopefully will be a long running series of tactical analysis videos. Now this is the first round in the Death on the Pitch League, Division 4, Season 4. This is the Rookies Division, so all the coaches here are brand new to the game, or near as. So this is a match between two completely rookie coaches, one playing Orcs, one playing Dark Elves. And we're going to jump in, we're going to give them some tactical analysis and show what they could have done differently or things that they did really well and why. Hopefully so you guys can learn from your own games. So let's jump into it and we'll join you on the pitch. Okay, so as we can see right from the off that this is a match played in the rain in the first half. Whether that'll change, I can't remember, but we'll have a look and see. But that will affect the ball pickup, passing and catching, so everything to do with the ball. So whichever team goes in on the initial offensive drive has that to worry about. So if you win the toss in this situation, depending on the teams you are playing against, it might be better to put your opponent in, as there is a greater chance of them dropping the ball, and the weather might change for the second half, which is benefit to you for that drive. So both teams are fairly standard builds. The Dark Elves have 4 blitzers and linemen up to 11 with 2 rerolls. The Orcs have got 4 Black Orcs, 4 blitzers and a troll, and I believe 2 rerolls. So here we are with the setup, and it looks like the Orcs are on the offensive drive, so we'll switch to follow their attack, and we'll put the skills on as well so you can see who is what. If I can click the right button there, one spot, there we go. Okay, so let's have a look at what the Dark Elves have done here in their defensive play. So they've put 3 on the LOS, which is the minimum you use, and in this situation you don't want to put any more on the LOS. He has however put a player here and a player here. Now with only 1 square gap here between the LOS and this player here, and the same here, if the Orcs managed to roll a quick snap on the kickoff table, he could step this player forward into here, and a player forward into here, and that would allow him to get a free block on these guys here. So ideally you want to be setting up on this line to avoid that action on the event of a quick snap. With the guys he's got here, 4 in the centre and 2 back here, would be a better setup I think against a quick scoring team, against a Skaven or another elf team. But it doesn't necessarily need to set up as deep as this against the Orcs, which is a relatively slow team. The 3 on the line are not supporting each other, so this guy is all isolated on his own. These 2 are helping each other out, but I would tend to keep the 3 together wherever possible, just so they support each other. And you can go for either 3 in the centre, which is the most straightforward option. 3 to one side or the other would give you the defensive advantage if you roll a perfect defense on the kickoff table, allowing you to rebuild your line. If your opponent has set up players here to block players here, you could move your 3 players from here to over here and try and avoid some of those blocks. Okay, so that's the Dark Elf setup. Let's see what the Orcs do. So he's got a thrower on this team, so you probably want that guy to go and fetch the ball. Okay, so is that the setup? Let's have a quick look and see. It is. Okay, it's a brilliant coaching, so that doesn't really affect any results. And the kick's back there. Alright, so ball's back here. Let's look at the setup. So he's got a player in this wide zone and a player back here. That's perfectly fine. There's no frenzy on the Dark Elf team because there isn't a Witch Elf, but if there was frenzy, then having a player this close to the sideline is a little bit risky. Same for this, but again there's no frenzy on the Orc side. But from here, a clever blitz with a frenzy player could see these 2 players pushed into the crowd. And you don't want to lose a player at any point, but losing one on turn 1 leads you down for the entire drive. So ideally, these 2 players could have been here or have another player next to them to support them. What he's done here is potentially line up 3 dice with the troll. So if he takes a block here with one of these 2, takes care of this guy, the troll at strength 5 plus 2 assists would be able to get 3 dice here on the remaining elf in this setup, which is the most reliable way of using your troll. He's got a guy in the middle in case the Dark Elves rolled a blitz result, otherwise they could have come right through this gap, so you don't want to leave a gap there for your opponent to come through. And these two here is fine as well. You don't need the assist because both of these are strength 4, but having 2 players there, there's no harm. What I think I might have seen is putting the thrower in the safe square in the centre of the pitch to give him the most scope to fetch the ball, because whilst the kicker's gone here, and it's on this side, if the kicker had gone over here, then the thrower couldn't reach it, and he might be relying on alignment to fetch the ball, who doesn't have the benefit of the sure hands. Okay, so we already know what the first action is going to be. It is one of the blocks. It's a block from one of the Orcs. Blocks there, gets a knockdown, which is fine. That lines up the 3 dice from the troll, so like we said. And he's got a block here, and he can line up a blitz somewhere as well. Now, unless he's going to make a blitz there, now he isn't. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this now. By putting 2 players here and here, what he's done there is give away a block on the next turn to the Dark Elves, who automatically there have 2 dice, both with block on both sides. So he's got 2 dice there and a 2 dice there. And I don't see that this positioning has given the Orcs any advantage. Let's see how the turn plays out, but that's just something to bear in mind. Okay, tagging out this player here is fine. As is this, though, this is only strength 3 on 3, whereas this is strength 4 on strength 3. A knockdown and a stun there is a big help for the Orcs. Okay, now he runs back, think about the ball, makes the pickup even in the rain, doesn't even need the sure hands. So that's lucky, but that was a 4+ pickup, so 50-50 with sure hands, 75% play. But I like this. I like the fact he's brought some players back, because the Elves are the quicker team, and doing this, the go for it there was unnecessary. Okay, let's just have a quick look at that. Can we do that? Right. So yeah, the GFI here was unnecessary, because if you look at the range of the Dark Elf players, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, can't get beyond here. Can't get beyond this Black Orc. Same over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which means the ball was safe. It makes sense to bring players back in case you have an early turnover, but otherwise, just making that GFI there was unnecessary. That's all I'm going to say there. Bringing the player back was perfectly fine, but you didn't need to risk rolling that dice. Okay, on comes to the Elf side. What are the Elves going to do here? Okay, it opens up here with a dodge. Now let's see if that was the right play. He's got 1, 2 players that have no dice to roll. So he could have moved these 2 players first, depending on what he wants to do with them, and not run any risks. And once this was only 2+, the player hasn't got dodge. That would have been a 1 in 6 chance of turning over on the first action. And with only, well, he's now got 3 rerolls because of the kickoff result, but with only 2 team rerolls, you want to minimise the number of rolls you need to make. Nice to see a player come round though, putting some pressure on the ball. It does force the Orcs here to do something about it. You've got to respect the fact this guy's here, so he can't just open up with blocks and risk the turnover, because the ball being back here with some Elves puts him under a bit of pressure. Okay. Now here he's got 2 dice, but instead of taking the blocks, he decides to dodge these players back. Now sometimes this is the right play, but when you have the player advantage in this situation, 2 dice block with block is more likely to work than a single dodge. As we can see here, failed the dodge, and that drew out one of the rerolls. I don't know that I would have put a reroll into that. It's not wrong, not by any means, but again, reroll limitation. Does having that player fall over and end your turn actually cause you a big problem here? The ball is quite a long way back, so the Orcs can't make any real progress. So you might have been okay there to leave that player on the floor, end your turn, save the reroll for a more important action later on. But he hasn't, he's used it, got these players back, so he's not giving away the blocks next turn, though the correct play there was to actually take those 2 blocks. Nope, wrong one. Okay, now what? He's got a player here, and there is another 1. So a little luckier there to roll 2 1s in the same turn, but you will fail 1 in 6. and he actually failed 2 in 5. No, sorry, 2 in 6. So again, quite high odds, but it does happen. Okay, now the Orc's doing the smart thing, moving the ball up first. None of these actions require any dice. So he's made good progress here with the ball, kept it central, so he's not committed to rolling down one side or the other. He can keep his options open. Let's talk about this. Activating the troll early is sometimes when you're actually rolling any block dice, so you're risking a turn off. So all he was trying to do here was move. No, sorry, I'll tell you that. He was trying to blitz with the troll. Okay, if you're just trying to move the troll, you can move the troll early on in the turn because you can't turn over if you roll a really stupid 1 here, as he has done. And if you can move the troll, you know that piece is going to be there. If you leave moving the troll to later in the turn, where placing him, where you've run out of players to place in his position. So if you were trying to use a troll to make up a cage corner, and you'd use everyone else and move the troll last, if the troll then went really stupid, you wouldn't have a player to form the corner of your cage. So wherever you want to move the troll, it makes good sense to do it early, so you know whether it will or won't work before you've run out of players to make up the gap. In this case, it was the blitz. Not quite sure where he was planning to go with that. Probably into here somewhere, because he's only got 4 squares of movement, so 3 gets you there, so we could have blitzed in there. 2 dice, not bad odds, but if you're going to blitz with a troll, possibly later on in the turn, again, because a turnover with the troll is quite possible. A 1 in 9, because he hasn't got a block skill, so 1 in 9 blocks will turn over in that situation. So that could have come later on. So the blitz has been used. So again, the Orcs making the same, I'm going to say mistake, but the same play that they made in the first half. Having seen the Dark Elves run backwards, you might suspect that they will do the same again. But if the Dark Elves continue to run backwards here, every turn, then they are offering no real challenge to the Orcs. They can simply just bring the ball all the way forward, all the way forward, all the way forward, and the Elves aren't really stopping them. Now, the first thing I spot when we get to this Elf team, or the Elf's turn, is this guy here. Because he has a movement range of 6. So if I pull up my... I can't easily do that. Okay, we won't do that. He can got 6 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So with 2 GFIs, this elf here can come right around the back and have a block here. Which is kind of good because there's an empty cage corner here. This cage has got a very big gap in it. Now, if you look at the assisting options, this is the only square that provides an assist. So to get 2 dice in this situation, you would need to either take that, cancel that guy's assist, cancel that guy's assist, one or the other, put a player there, and then blitz from this square or this square, depending on who's assisted cancelled. But if we look at the other players available to the Dark Elves here, which is these guys here, all of them are out of range, so you can't get enough players back. So the best you can achieve here is 1 dice, and it's 1 dice without block, but the ball carrier doesn't have block either. So even if you rolled both down results, you would actually knock the ball out of the Orc's hands, and in the rain, there's a good chance he won't pick it up first time. So that's the first thing that leaps out to me in this situation. Then the same again, he's got 2 dice here and 2 dice here that he can take. He's got a player here. Now I'd like to see this player go 1, 2, 3. He could even go through here, 1, 2, 3, and even risk a GFI to come in here. Because the troll here has no tackle zones because he went stupid. These 3 here though, I think I will be dodging these guys back. Because they are not currently doing anything, but I might put them in here. So rather than dodging backwards, I might actually dodge in here. Maybe a couple of players there would be a little bit tricky for the Orcs to deal with. Back here, this guy here probably wants to dodge out, because that's strength 4. He doesn't want to be taking that block. And that's 1 dice without block into block, so again, I don't think that's an option to be taking. But if he brings an assist in there, he could take 2 dice there. So that's my thoughts. Let's see how he plays this turn out. Okay, so he stands up here, just stands up here, doesn't move this guy. He does this time take the block here, with block, and follows up. Maybe I wouldn't have followed up there, because you give away the return block. Unlucky there to get 2 lots of pushes. No knockdowns. Follows up. Now he's tagging these guys 1 for 1. And that now gives him back the advantage there. Now this player perhaps shouldn't have been there because it offers no advantage. Being in there would be better. So what did let's just do that. What the Dark Elves didn't do that turn was take a blitz. So rather than actually bringing this guy around, they just brought him backwards. He took his 2 blocks there, left this guy out on his own, didn't move a couple of the others, so gave away the option there of taking the blitz. And didn't try and get these players out. So these players here, it didn't stand this player up at all, which is fine. But these 2, it could have got them out, and I think that would have been a better, stronger position. Okay, so let's see how the Orcs get on with this. Okay, this position says he's going to bring the ball through here. Okay, if he picks up this Black Orc, he should be able to form a full cross cage, full 5-man cage. And here comes the blitz in there. So this might leave him a player short there, because that is a turnover. In fact, that is completely a turnover. So unlucky there for the Orcs to get it. But that has left the Elves with a good shot at the ball this time. So whilst that was a long way around on the previous turn, here he's got a straightforward shot to actually get 2 dice on the ball. So let's see. Let's do this before the turn ticks over. This guy here goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tags out this guy. You've got a elf here, or an elf here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stands there. Which means all you need to do then is use one of these 2 blitzers and go, if you want this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you put an assist there and cancel that assist, blitzing from there gives you 2 dice on the ball carrier. Now if you look at that another way, rather than moving this guy over there, if you left this guy here and used another guy, so you've got these 2 here to mark this guy, if you knock the ball loose into this square and it bounces over here perhaps, or even over here if the Black Orc doesn't catch it, you've got a chap back here who can then go and fetch it. And if you get the ball on this guy and run over here, the Orcs are in a lot of bother. So that is a nice placement here. This guy needs to be brought back in, because the Orcs have now brought down one side. You could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because the Orcs didn't activate the Trolls. This Troll's still not doing anything. So having this guy back here will stop the Orcs from coming and swinging this way. But coming back this way is also pretty strong. That is all the players. This guy, you probably won't stand up until later, but if you could have the same effect, you could tag out this guy, though that's a little bit tricky to achieve, but take the blitz from there. But that pushes the ball over here, and that's trickier for the Elves to recover. Okay, let's see how he plays. So that's the turnover of the Orcs making this 9 here. What does he do? Okay, opens up with the block with block, which is fine. That frees this guy up. He's left an assist in there. And he has spotted that he can hit the ball for 1 dice. He gets away with it 1 dice, but the correct play there was to make it safer for 2. That is unlucky. The chance of a Black Orc catching it is actually a 6+. And he made it. That was simply unlucky. As is that. Another 2+ dodge that they failed. This time he doesn't choose to re-roll it. Now let's see which one that was. I think that was over here from the Troll, trying to get away here. Now, is that alright? Well, knowing that the ball is here, and this guy is free, before rolling any more dice, I would have used the other available players, because you know now this guy isn't going to be used to recover the ball. So you could stand him in here, just to put another tackle zone on this ball carrier here, which makes getting this guy clear trickier. And this guy here, you could have brought him round, though I think well, either would be a good bet coming this way, coming this way. You had a block to throw in here, like when we decided that a 2 dice block with block is safer than a single touch. And this guy here, he could have come round to try and tag out these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop these 2 from getting into the game, because at the moment this guy isn't stood up, so these 2 can walk in here and cause some issue to the Elves marking the ball carrier. Okay, again, moves the troll early on, but not a blitz this time, just movement. But put some tackle zones on guys here. Okay, so that clears one of the tackle zones off the ball. And doing this doesn't clear both. But there is an interesting situation that if he had blitzed from this square, probably with this Black Orc rather than this one, or this blitzer here, if you blitz from this square, rather than having to push there, you would have to push into here. Now this is called a chain push. So you block from here, push this guy, you can push him into this blitzer here, and push that blitzer out of the way. Now if that was a knockdown rather than a push, then that means your Black Orc is now unmarked, and you can move him. Come over here, or come into here. And it also means that you could then, in this situation, have them blocked with the Black Orc, and have a hit here. So I think the right play was actually blitz this way to try and clear the tackle zones off the ball carrier. Just getting a push there is fine, and that kind of makes everyone safe. And he does then eventually block with the ball carrier, gets the knockdown, and chooses to follow it up. It's kind of okay, because the ball carrier now is strength 4, so getting even 1 dice on the ball carrier now is a lot harder than it was. And this guy could perhaps have been in there, because this elf has an easy dodge out. This elf is too far out of the game to make much of it. And 1 dice there, it's okay. So how do they get this next turn going? So still hasn't moved this player, still hasn't moved this player. Now both of these guys, still, especially this guy, is now out of the game. He's going to spend a turn just getting back into relevance. He might come and make an assist back here, but that is not part of where the game really is. So I think this guy here needs to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 probably into there. Get him back into the centre of the pitch so you've got him available next turn. This guy here is still available if you manage to knock the ball loose, but I don't see a good option for getting the ball out this turn. So this guy wants to be thought about where you put him. This guy is a dodge out, that guy is a dodge out, and these guys here are kind of stuck. There's not a good dodge out, and the Orcs have the strength advantage here. Okay, standing up next to the ball carrier, if you haven't got a better option, is still pretty good. It means you've got to think, or the Orcs have got to think about them, but at the same time, doesn't really do much. Now that's nice, but that is also a chain push. Now this is actually very good, because that there has lined up 1 dice on the ball. So I really like the play there. He's come in here, used the same chain push we talked about previously, pushed a Black Orc out of the way. Because that was a knockdown, it was a risky 1 dice, but it has paid off. Following up there provides the assist for this guy to have 1 dice. Now he hasn't got blocks, so it's still a little risky, but if you're trying to block a strength 4 ball carrier, doing it with 1 dice is not always, or it might only be your option. So I don't mind that. That's quite a smart move. Okay, but rather than so what we didn't see there was to take full advantage of the options. So again, this elf just left on his own. Might have forgotten he's there. It is easy to forget to pan the screen around. If you're looking over here, you can see that guy that you've missed back here. So you're giving away a player already. But that there was a free 1 dice hit on the ball that you could have taken. Might not have worked, but it was one to be taken. So instead the turn ends and it's still back to the Orcs. Again, just get a block from over here. And again, tries to push all the elves out. So it gets one of the elves' tackle zones off the ball. That'll do another one. Okay, this time it's done. So that helps the Orcs keep the numbers and strength advantage. And I think that was a block with ball carrier, which is a little risky if you turn over, you drop the ball. But at the same time, it also means that has used up the ball carrier's action. So instead of that, he's got a blitzer here that could have stood up and blitzed. Blitz in there, have the same blocking effect, knock over the player there, but your ball carrier could then move. Could be over here somewhere, or make some progress forward. Because the Black Orc is only movement 4, and this is turn 5 for the Orcs. So whilst they're in a good, strong position, if they are slowed down too much here, there won't be a lot that the Orcs can do if they run out of time. So when you have some availability to move, perhaps you'll be taking it. Okay, that is the first elf to go out, which is just on a block over here, which gives the orcs a permanent player advantage for the rest of this drive, maybe for the rest of the game, depending on how that KO plays out. And there's a second one, so two in the same turn. A little unlucky for the elves, and it puts them in a disadvantage, especially with two stunned as well. So for the next turn, the elves have only got 7 players, where the orcs have got the full 11. So this is the only player left marking the ball carrier. Only a push, but because all the other squares are pinned off, you can push him in there. Now, if the elf here decides to take a block on the ball carrier, it will be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Uphill, 3 dice uphill. So that is a 3 dice uphill is sort of a last ditch blocking attempt when you can't do anything else. You can stand up there, which gets rid of 1, but that's 4, 5, 6, 7. Still 3 dice, so we'd have to take out 1 more assist just to make it 2 dice. And getting 1 dice is impossible. So that's okay. So how do the elves deal with the situation? This guy can't easily get out. Okay, a dodge back's here. He does remember to bring this player in and brings a blitz. 2 dice there. Again, just a push. The elves not having the best of the blocking dice here. And this guy comes out. Doesn't base up there. This guy is going to take a beating. It is 3 dice. He does go down. And that there gives the orcs a real strong position to actually come down with the ball carrier now. 2, 3, 4. Bring the ball carrier right over here. He's got 2 spare players here. He's got a spare player here, a couple of spare players here. He can screen that off nicely. Now the troll doesn't have a friend, so leaving the troll unactivated here wouldn't be a bad play, because that means the troll can just do a job. If you fail the really stupid, he then isn't doing a job. But he risks it, it pays off, and it's fine. Managed to get players in there. And let's just look at this. So with an orc here, 1 here and 2 here, these elves here can't easily get in there. So this is the only elf who is now not knocked over that can do anything. But even that is a long way around, and it will be uphill when it gets there. There is another 1 in 9, and interesting that the orcs didn't choose to re-roll that. So that is a 1 in 6 failure, because this guy has block, and he has 3 turns left and 2 re-rolls. So I might have been tempted to re-roll that, because you're in quite a strong position, you've got a numbers advantage, and 1, 2, 3, 4. You only need 6 squares to score. 4 more squares puts you in a very strong position. So I think that would have been a re-roll block. Okay. So that's the turnover. Now, from the elf's point of view, you are really looking at how the orcs are likely to score here. How do you make it as tricky as you can without running the risk of taking any more damage? Where the orcs are almost likely to score, if you have to roll lots of risky dice that probably won't work, but might see one of your players injured or KO'd, so you don't have them for the next half, then sometimes limiting the damage here might be the right play. So you've got this guy here, who could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hit for 2 dice uphill on double GFI. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can do it on 1 GFI, doesn't need 2. So we need 2 plus 2 plus, and then an uphill block. So that is a thing. It's probably the play I will be taking in this situation. You might be able to get this guy out, who is a blitzer, so that's movement 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a 2 plus dodge and 2 go for it puts a player in there. That kind of helps. And if you could get 1, 2, 3, can't easily get in there, but if you could find a player to tag that guy out, then he will be able to actually get 1 dice on the ball. But that would be a lot of work and some dice to roll. Whereas getting this guy back, you kind of want to do. It's all on 2s, because it's going to pose an issue for the Orcs at relatively small risk. Here, that is more risky, but if you've already got a player here, you can risk that one a bit more. I would like to see these 2 brought out, away from the troll, so you've got them available. And if anything else, you might risk that as a 3+2+. As towards the end of the turn, simply because that is a good position to be in. But getting these guys back is more complicated. Let's see how he plays this out. Okay, so the first action was a straight 2+ dodge, and he doesn't get it. And it is with the guy we thought would take the blitz, but it's just to move him. Unlucky there that it was a dodge. And that was 2 3+ dodges. So he tried to dodge. Can we just... Nope. So he tried to dodge from here, into there, and then into there. So 3+, 3+. Okay, that is not horrible odds, but without dodge and having burnt the reroll, you needed to consider that everything else, nothing else has happened this turn. No other players have moved, and given the dice, it was an unlucky turn for the dice. Players were going to fall over pretty much no matter what you did, but there isn't anyone else stood up. We've only got the 3 players here, 1 back here and 1 here for the Orcs to consider. So the Orcs in a good strong position because they can blitz down here, move that ball carrier all the way over here, and that pretty much guarantees the Orcs score. Failing the dodge into the KO is again kind of unlucky. Bad dice there for the Elves. Okay. Nice to see that the Orcs move the ball carrier as the first action. And an assist in there is pretty good, as long as he blitzes now from this direction. Ooh, okay, double skulls into a knockdown. So that pulls away the reroll for this turn. So now the Orcs have no safety net and have to consider how they rescue this. So, was that the right play? Well, he's got this guy here that hasn't done anything. He's got these 2 guys here that haven't done anything. These guys here would need to roll dice. This guy would need to roll some dice. And these guys would need to roll some dice. So I might have moved these 3. Probably got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in there. Stop these elves from being a threat. Black Orc here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, he could also have gone 1, 2. Stand in here, give the troll a friend if he wants to activate the troll. Also mark these 2 out. But I would like to see this guy throwing the blitz early. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blitz in this square, push this guy out. Push him here and follow, and then mark the Black Orc. Or push him in here and follow, but I'd like to see him pushed away. If he decides to blitz this way, or not blitz at all, but if he blitzes this way, he's actually pushing him in towards the ball carrier rather than away. So direction. The direction you block from is often very important, and in this case it really is. So let's get burnt the reroll, let's see how the rest of this turn plays out. Okay, dealing with this, which is a little bit unimportant. Nice that he goes to give this guy back, but then doesn't stand him up. Okay, and there we see the block is a push. That puts this guy a 2+ dodge away from hitting the ball carrier. And again, just focusing on here, before he's done anything with these 2 players that don't need any dice rolling, and might be more helpful for keeping the team going. But this guy probably should have stood here, because that would have been able to put the troll in there. So if you've just gone 2 squares, there you would have tied those 2 out, activate the troll, and then try and summon the troll here, or even there or there, or even run as far as here, which makes the getting this guy out. The thrower here, excellent placement, absolutely perfect. Could have been here, but that's perfect as well. This guy to dodge out, he can get out on a 2, but then needs big dice to dodge back in. So he's covered off the fact that that push was in the wrong direction by putting a player here. So how can the elves rescue this? Okay, fails another dodge, but this time it was a 5+ dodge. He rolled a 1, so again, really unlucky with dice. If he had gone for the reroll there, he would have made it. But then the block dice would have been uphill, so he would have not got the knockdown. Now, he's gone from here. Was he there? He was there, wasn't he? And he's tried to dodge in there on a 5+. He couldn't do anything else. He could have dodged out to there and to there, but it's still the same 5+. So getting to this square is risky, but in this situation, the elves don't have any good options. There's only the one elf in range of doing anything here with the ball. So taking a bold risk might have worked. Here's a 1 in 3 chance, sorry. A third, yeah, 1 in 3 chance of actually working, because it's a 5+. He would have then rolled 2 dice uphill, so the orcs would choose the result, which might have gone for a knockdown. Both down would have been an appropriate result, given how close we are to the end. The orcs have only got 1 turn. A failed pick actually sees this go to 0-0 at half-time. But that's how this turn ended. So before any of these other players, especially this guy here, 1, 2, 3, he might have been useful. The other guys all needed to dodge, but there was one player here you could have moved. So the orcs should just walk this in here. Rather than taking any risks, he should take this black orc and score. But instead he rolls some dice. He does have a reroll. And if you can remove a play, it's always worthwhile, but you do risk the chance of an early turnover. And putting the touchdown in here is really important. You're not away with it here. And if you go into half-time 0-0, you put the elves in a much stronger position than if you're 1-0. So I think I would like to see that as the only action in this turn. So not a foul. Now a foul with a black orc is not necessarily a good play to start with. You're doing that with an expensive player. Good odds here with +4 to the foul. But the chances of rolling a double here are quite high. And a double here on the foul is a turnover. And the orcs don't score. So this is definitely a bad idea. See if it works. It does work. It ends up being a stun, so a neutral result when the touchdown is coming, but far too risky to be a good idea. Okay, there we go. So he goes. The orcs do get a touchdown. Essentially, a perfect orc drive. 8 turns is what they were looking for. They didn't want to score early, and give the elves a chance to come back at them. Now then, there are some important KO rolls to make, and the elves get 2 of their 3 back. That will be a big help. But with only 1 turn, I don't expect to see a 1-turn scoring attempt here. Can I pause it? There we go. I don't expect to see a 1-turn scoring attempt here from the elves, and this is a very strong defensive lineup from the orcs. There is not a big opening here. Too much strength, players here and here, so there's no way the elves are going to come around and do anything. So I think I would like to see a block set up there, and a block set up there, a blitz on one of these 2, and then maybe even a cheeky pass just to see if you can generate a single star player point. Because everything else is too risky. There is a reroll in hand, so I would think I'd put a blitzer here, and 2 line elves there. A blitzer here and 2 line elves here, and a line elf just in the middle there. That lines up 2 dice there, 2 dice there, and then you take one of your blitzers and one of your line elves, and you take a shot over one side or the other. And he's almost there. He's got a player here and a player here, but he hasn't really moved the LOS there from the defensive drive. Sweltering heat from the rain. Okay, that's a big change in weather. We'll talk about that one. So sweltering heat is probably the worst weather result you can get. It's a double one, and it means that at the end of the drive, every player on the pitch rolls a d6. On a roll of a 1, that player is out for the next drive. If they go in the reserves box, they do come back. But you could lose quite a few players this way if you're unlucky with the dice. It doesn't have any effect on the ball like the rain does. It does affect the player numbers. So if you're going to roll it, rolling it for a single turn drive like this, bad news. If you roll it at the start of a drive and you play a turn drive, it has less of an effect, but it will affect the entire second drive, or the second half it will be in effect for. So you could lose plenty of players there for that. There we go. So yeah, this is pretty much the same setup on the LOS that the Elves used on their defensive drive. They've not got the advantages here and here, so pretty much leave these guys alone. You don't want to be taking those blocks. You could take that block and that block if you bring players up, but the Orcs don't have a turn here, so there's no fear of being blocked. So you don't need to do anything with these guys. You could ignore them, take the pass, maybe take the blitz. But instead, he's gone for the dodge there. Now, these dodges are risky. It is only 2+, but there's no benefit to making them. Because the Orcs have no turn of hitting you, those dice there could have failed, caused a failed dodge. And again, that's probably a little bit of an experience there. Didn't use the reroll there for the pickup to get this guy a chance. That'll just be a turnover. With the reroll in hand, no reason not to take that. But there's the turnover. So the first half ends 1-0 to the Orcs. Let's see. Okay, so the Elves get their KO back, so both teams back up to a full 11. How about that sweltering heat? So the sweltering heat has had no effect. Both teams brought all of their players. So the Elves can go in and see what they want. So we're going to see this now from the Elf drive. So we're still pushing forwards. Orcs have set up their defensive screen first. And they've kept the same lineup they had before. Orcs having the strength advantage here, that isn't bad. The Elves will struggle to take much in the way of blocks, but they do still have the same options we talked about previously. Blocks here and here. But let's see how he plays these players. Well, probably worth pointing out that the Orcs have made the same error perhaps that the Elves made and put a player close to the LOS in risk of the quick snap blitz, the quick snap block there. So just put another point to note that this player and this player should be another square back. No frenzy here, but if there was frenzy, it should be a square in as well. Okay, he's got a player back to deal with the ball, that's fine. But the other players all in odd positions. Okay, the Orcs get an extra reroll, and the kick is kind of okay for the Elves. So, neutral kick here, and it looks like it's going to start with the pickup, which is probably not the right answer. Judging by the Orcs' speed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even with a couple of GFIs, they can only just mark the ball, and he's got to come through some players to do it. So, fetching the ball here could risk an early turnover, which leads up into receiving blocks there. So again here, I think we would do the same as we talked about for turn 8. I'd be pressuring in here and here, here and here, make those two blocks, get away from this little lot, put some players in here. You could still blitz down one side, but then fetch the ball, get the ball picked up and come back into the centre with it. But instead we go for an early pickup, it works, which is fine, and then comes forward here. That's fine, but you're on one side rather than central, so the Orcs have the ability to think, well, I'm coming down this side, so let's bring some of these players over. Now what he is doing here, and I like this is really smart, he's actually forming a diagonal line of players. Now if he closes this off, it'll be actually really good. Okay, that's fine, takes the push, just pushes away so he isn't giving up a free block. Okay, and if this guy comes... Right, that's fine. So, we'll see the Orcs thing, but I like this setup here. Couple of players here, these 4 players here. That guy perhaps you could have got out, so you're not taking this block initially. But there's no route here through for the Orcs. Their fastest players are over here. They're not going to be able to come right around here, even if they get rid of these guys. So the ball's safe. I like this. He could come through here, perhaps. Whoa, what's he got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he could probably get through there. Blitz here with that guy and get a play around this side. So there's that to be aware of. But got the easy 2 dice block here. Okay, it ties up 3 players. It's nice. The troll just comes forward, ties up these 2. That's perfect. Now the blitz back here, I'm not convinced he's the right guy. It's nice to pick on the isolated elf out here on his own, but he would also be pretty good to just tag this guy, because the ball's here and the elves are here, so the ball is going to go that way. He's going to come through here and go that way with the ball. So bringing a player down here is a little bit unnecessary. Because this Black Orc is slow, having him spend his movement come this way means he's going to spend a turn just getting back to where he was before, at which point the ball's moved even further away. So he's sort of left behind a little bit. Okay, it follows. That's fine. Now this I do not like. So bringing a player around here has the same effect as bringing this Black Orc here. You've moved backwards here, but the ball is going to want to go this way. So you've brought your players forwards towards the ball, kind of, but also away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this Black Orc, sorry, this Blitzer here, if the ball doesn't move, can only get to here. Can't actually, well, we can roll some GFIs, but you can't really get to the ball. And the Black Orc is the same. And the chances of this ball still being here next turn are a little unlikely. That's okay, but I would like to see the blitz here instead. And again here, I'm not convinced I like that. What the Orcs have done here is leave no players back here. So if they also get through this line here, which they can do relatively easily, all of the Orcs are over here, and the ball wants to be over there. In fact, there is only 1 Orc at the moment left in the Orcs half of the pitch. And that GFI didn't re-roll it. That was double GFI. No real reason to make those rolls. I think that really is a bad play there. So you've now got 5 players over here. 4 players. This guy is doing something. These 4 are doing absolutely nothing. And what you've done is take all of your team and put them in the elf side of the pitch. You've got one guy here who's tagged out, only movement 4. If the elves break through here, they're away and there's nothing you can do to stop them. Now, so that is the turnover. So we'll talk about elf turn next, because I think I'd like to take this ball carrier and go through there. Now he's got 3 players here, so it's possible to take a 2 dice block with one of these blitzers, probably this guy, block him over there. He's got 2 guys then that are free who could be over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Be over there. And you could be, assuming this is a knockdown, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere there. And a couple of guys here. That's pretty strong. Now you've got elves here, all tagged up, so you're going to have to make some dodges. But what would happen if you took this elf here and went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a GFI. I'm not sure about that one. How about this guy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Puts a guy there. That's pretty good. Because then you can take a block here and try and come through. But what I think I'd like to do is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blitz. 1 dice, but you're looking for the push there. You blitz in there, you push there, you've created a gap. This orc goes over there. Or you knock him up because he hasn't got block, and you do. So you have a 5 out of 6 chance of getting this guy where you want him, over there. And then you follow up to keep your space, and this guy then goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe a GFI, and then if you really want to be brave, you risk a pass to the guys from over here that you've moved. All of the Orcs are still based up at that point, and you've managed to get the ball well behind the Orc line. These guys are out of range. So that is how I will play this turn out. How do the elves do it? Okay, it opens up with this block here. That's perfectly sensible because it gives him these 2 free players. Does exactly what I said. Push over here and follow. So we can bring these guys. Didn't need to follow because that blocks this path. That guy... Okay, that's interesting. That guy served no purpose there. You're not providing an assist to a block. You're just giving away a free hit. Standing there actually provides an assist for here. But I think I'd like to see him just stood here. He could stand over here, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, he could have stood here. And that would provide an assist on this Black Orc. But I think I'd just like to see him there. Just free, but behind. Because if you are going to take the ball and go over here, you want some free players to work with. He realised quite quickly there that that was the wrong square. And made the dodge out. Risky, but probably the correct play. Because standing there was bad. But having to risk a dodge is also bad. So that is just a misplay standing there in the first place. Also swallows up movement, so now we can't get quite as far. But getting out is pretty good. Where does he stand him? He just stands in there. That's not too bad. Now it goes straight for the pass, and he throws it into a tackle zone. Okay, so that is 2+ pass, so you couldn't make that pass any easier. But that's a 4+ catch with these 2 tackle zones. So he's made it. But that was a 50% catch, and I think that is not brilliant, and it hasn't done anything. Whilst you've got the ball forward, you've now got the ball here. I don't know that that really hasn't helped. You actually put the ball at more risk. So I do not like, I think that was definitely a bad move. What else do we see this turn? Managed to get 2 dice. Sorry, no, that was the end. That was, in fact, the end of the elf play, so that was all they did this turn. Now, I don't know if that was a quick turn, or if that was actually a long turn thinking about it, and then a last-minute play to see just something done. But that was all the elves did there. So, a little odd there, but that is how it went. So, the ball definitely in a problem, because it's got straightforward 2 dice on the ball. Just the block here, he can get then a 1 dice here, and he's still got a blitz. So the elves in a bit of bother here. So the 2 dice, just a push, even with a reroll, it still ends up just the push. And a push here from the troll. So he's taken that, he burned the reroll. He hasn't got an assist, and there isn't an assist square available. Well, it's here, but you're not going to get an orc here. So you either take your 1 dice with block there, hope for the knockdown, and you don't follow because then you take a 2 dice there. So if you push him in here. You take 2 dice there, and then you follow there. You've got these guys here. I'd like to see these guys brought right round and swarm the back of these guys. But I would also like to see one of the blitzers brought up here through there and actually get someone back into the orcs half, because if the elves keep the ball, they're still in a better position for making the touchdown here. Okay, that's fine. He does start to bring some players around, lines up the block there. Okay, like that. Gives him someone that can actually come in next turn. And that there tags out the elf. Okay, stuck his throw on the floor. What does he do with that guy? It's okay, could have gone this way, I think. Getting the thrower this way wouldn't have been a bad idea. Unluckily, just gets a push there, and wasn't this way. I'd like to see him push this way. And that should have been not the follow to give him 2 dice there. But there we go, the ball is marked by 2 players. How do the Dark Elves get out of this one? So from this situation, I think you end with the same situation that you had previously. I still think that that is the blitz. Get this guy out of the way and then move through here. You've got this guy and this guy available to you, so I think the plan hasn't changed. The plan here is shove this guy out of the way. You can't get an assist. And the only other way to do it would be to try and get a blitz in, but you haven't got one. You have 2 blitzers there. You've got this guy, I suppose. This guy could be got out, so you could go 1, 2. Try and push him that way, but that kind of, if that isn't a knockdown, doesn't really give you the direction of push you need. What you need to do is get this guy out of the way so you can come down the side. So I think that is the blitz. Everyone else here, you're just going to try and dodge them out after everything else. Because you need that to work, you need the ball carrier free, and you want the pass to work. So I would like to, this guy, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Get him somewhere over here. This guy to help him, somewhere at this side of the ball carrier. Blitz there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go for that pass. Get the ball over here, and make the Orcs chase you to get it. Okay, this guy, that isn't a bad spot. Could be a little bit further, but isn't bad. I'm not sure how to risk the dodge there until later on. Okay, that is okay, but I'm not quite sure where he thinks he's going to put the ball. Okay, I see what he's done. That is very unlucky, but we're going to talk about that as soon as we get the game back. Okay, there we go. Right. So, what he tried to do there is very interesting. The ball was here, and he tried to pass it to this guy here. Now, there's a couple of issues with that. First thing is you're passing it to a guy that's already moved. So you already know that if you made this pass and this catch, that this elf here can easily be hit. You've got two guys here. One of these guys blocks, the other guy can blitz, and you've got 2 dice on the ball carrier. You've got the same here, a block there, and you get a 2 dice blitz in there. So giving it to this guy after he's moved so close to the Orcs, not my favourite target. I think I'd rather throw it over here. If you could throw it, I'd have thrown it here. He's a block player, he's a little bit further away, and he's got more of a screen protecting him. But if we go back to the idea of throwing it in the first place, that is a 2+ throw, but it's a longer throw, so that's a 3+ throw, -1, -1, so that's a 5+ throw. Can we see the dice log? We can. Where is that pass roll? Oh, we didn't get as far making the pass because of the intercept. So there's a peculiar instance where intercept is rolled before the pass attempt. So if that hadn't been if the intercept had failed there, that was still an unlikely throw at 5+. But the Orcs made the intercept, so 1 in 6 will see an intercept. It does happen more often than you think it should, but it's an instant turnover. So not only have you lost the ball, you've actually given it to the opposing team. So that's really bad for the Elves. Now the Orcs have got the ball, and they're in a stronger position because they didn't defend here. So all of their players are here, rather than having any players back here. So it might have been a misplay to bring all the Orcs down. Because of this misplay by the Elves, that's actually been very good play from the Orcs. So on the Orc drive, I think I would like to see this guy, 1, 2, 3, blitz there. If you get a push, you shove him in there, and you follow. You tie that guy up and that guy up, and if it is only a push, this guy then has 2 dice to push this elf off the pitch. Give you a straightforward player advantage. You've got this guy free, you'll be able to generate some free guys here, and bring the ball down. Okay, instead he goes for the block here with the line orc. Gets the armor break, gets the stun, and follows up to pin these 2 guys, which is fine. Don't mind that, but I would have taken the surf option personally. Who threw the blocks? This guy threw the block, which is fine, but that means the guy that's further away is the one that you're bringing round. This guy, I'd like to see this thrower brought down to defend. That's okay to take that block there. That was only 2 dice from the troll. 3 dice was available to him there. I'd like to see this Black Orc moved early, very early in the turn. He's doing absolutely nothing. So the best thing you can do is go 1, 2, 3, 4. Get him over here. Get him as far as you can before you do anything else, just so you don't leave him behind, because he's so slow. If you leave him behind for a turn, he's pretty much out of the drive. This guy here, I'd like to see brought in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And have you blitzed yet? Doesn't look like it, so I think I would take that as the blitz to be able to get this guy back and give me some defensive screening here. Not that they also have got a lot to work with at this point. Okay, he doesn't take the blitz. Gets the stun out of it, so that really does limit what the elves have got to work with. And then he blitzes back here. Okay, but not amazing. These three are a little out of it for a turn. So you might manage just to tag them. And that definitely... It's not bad. When we consider what he's done there, what he's done is take... There's not a lot of elves available to him, so he's got 2 stunned elves, 3 elves. Well, you're not going to get this guy out easily, and you're not going to get this guy out easily. So you've only really got this elf here, and then those 3 there. So bringing the thrower back actually slows down what these 3 can do, which is okay. There's a guy out here, but he's not going to be in range to do anything. So that's what I would prefer to see him down here. That is still a good move, because these elves now can't come down here easily. And the same for the Black Oak. GFI was unnecessary, but does the same thing. And that I definitely don't like. I would rather see that Blitzer kept next to the ball to protect, because this was the obvious move that the elves could make. He had that to there, so he could have gone 1, 2, 3, GFI, and had 1 dice on the ball. 3 plus 2 plus, 2 plus 2 plus. Not amazing odds, but not bad odds either. And that's, at this point, all the elves can do. These guys are out the way. These guys you don't want to dodge out. This guy, you'd like to dodge him out, but it's unimportant to the rest of the drive at this point. 1, 2, 3. You're not going to get him to a relevant square. Probably there, maybe. But he's still not helping. And you could roll the 1 on the dodge there, and end the turn on an unimportant action where you can take this. And this is the most important action in the turn, and worth the reroll to stop the Orcs from scoring. So you go 3 plus 2 plus, 2 plus 2 plus. So burn the reroll is probably the right answer. Unlucky there, but he's done a big odd thing. Can we look at that? So that was, I think, the blitz. But rather than going there 3 plus 2 plus, he's gone there and there. Well, that's... is that 4 plus? No, that's actually 4 plus dodge, not 3 plus. Sorry, that's 4 plus 2 plus. Well, that's 4 plus 4 plus. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4. You still can get there. So it's not costing you any extra squares of movement, but you're adding a more complicated dodge. So what did he roll? So yeah, if you look at that roll there, he would have gone 4 plus, made the first one on the reroll. We rolled a 2 then, he would have made that roll. You would have got there, 2 for the GFI, 4 for the GFI to hit, so he would have actually made it there and got a hit on the ball. So that is simply bad pathing, because that was the correct dodge, not that one. Okay, the Orcs. Turn 12, score here isn't bad. And it does. That kind of puts the game, that guarantees the draw. The Elves are not going to be able to make 3 touchdowns back in order to take the win here. Again, the KO comes back for the Dark Elves, so they get their full roster. But the Sweltering Heat this time takes 2 Orc Blitzers and 1 Dark Elf lineman. So in this situation, the Elves are actually players ahead for the first time. But yes, with only, 4 turns, the Elves cannot make 3 touchdowns. The Elves are going to be pushed to make 2 touchdowns at this point. So the early score there kind of guarantees the result. Definitely the right call, definitely the call I would have made there. Get those points on the board and secure the victory. Now the Orcs have a slightly different setup because they're short players, but essentially all the strong players are still where they were, and it's still a very strong defence. And then the Orcs pick up a blitz. Now how did the Elves set up? Well, the Elves didn't set up to counter this. So again, they haven't moved any of their players in the setup. Now I can understand not wanting to be next to these guys, but 1 single lineman positioned here would stop these 3 being activated on a blitz. And now they're not, so you can actually get these 2 doing something. He's also got this guy here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 2 are a bit far back. But we know where the ball's going to go. It's a shallow kick, which is good for the Elves, because they want to make lots of progress. But it's also good for the Orcs, because it gives them a chance to reach it. And they could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So with a GFI, you could put this blitzer under the ball. Blitz there to remove the tackle zone. I think the plan here would be try and move the troll. First action. Try and stand the troll there. And then take this black orc, blitz from there, push there, push him into there, and follow to stand here. So you've got a troll and a black orc there, then a GFI to put this blitz under the ball. That's how this plays out. You might then decide to take this blitzer and go 1, 2, 3, put him in there, or put him in here, and you might decide to bring these two forward, but I think I would leave these two back as a defence in case the elves manage to get the ball and rush through, because again you'd have lots of players forwards. Okay, instead puts the black orc under the ball. Now that isn't a problem apart from the fact that the black orc is agility 2 and the blitzer is agility 3. So the black orc will be catching this ball on a 6. Agility 2 means it's naturally a 5+, with a tackle zone makes it a 6+. If you can move this guy out of the way, then that becomes a 5+. But if you put the blitzer under there, it's a 5+. If you move the blitzer, it's a 4+. Also, that's a 50-50 chance. So this blitzer here, much better chance of catching that ball. Okay, that's fine. If you're not going to put him on the ball, you can use him to tag that player out. Same here. So blitz should definitely be this guy. Okay, doing it from there, not really much of a difference. It pushed it into the same square and stood in the same square, so didn't make a lot of difference there. Again, committing these players, I would like to see them not so committed, but that's not bad, because if he fails the catch like he has done, that's just putting another tackle zone on the ball. So the elves got a tricky pickup here, because that's naturally a 5+ pickup. So let's talk about this before we get carried away. The play I would like to see is blitzing this thrower onto the ball. You've got a player back here, and I think I'll be taking this player, standing him in there. I'll be taking this blitzer, dodge to there, move to there, hit there. You've got 2 dice, you're looking for some form of push. A both down is okay, but you'd really want a push, and in this situation I would take a push over a both down, push him on the ball and try and bounce the ball to a better position. And if you bounce the ball to here, it's only 1 tackle zone. If you do manage to knock this guy down and you bounce the ball to here, it's not in any tackle zones. And all of a sudden you've got, can we get in and pick that ball up easier than where it currently is? Instead, the elves make a very risky play to go dodge, dodge, and that is a bad dodge. So his initial dodge was 2+, which is fine. Stands there, which is okay. And then moves to here. Well, that's a 5+ dodge. Now he's lucky that he's rolled double 6. And that is the first... Sorry, no, that's the second action. He's done something over here. But that is very early in the turn, before he's done anything else. And he's done a very risky manoeuvre. Now I think that is... I can't think of much of a worse play to take here. And I don't want to say that because it's tricky to make the decision in the moment. But this is a really, really bad decision. So you're looking for a 5+ dodge and a 5+ pickup. So he's made the dodge. Okay. But then he hasn't made the pickup. Now, you've only got 1 reroll here. Are you going to burn a reroll on a 5+ play? Which then leaves you stuck here. Well, then you can't. Well, I can't stand there. I've got to keep dodging. So then you're going to roll try and roll a 2 to get out, and then you want to be over here. If you can make it work, that's slightly different because you're over here and the orcs are over here. Let's see how it plays out. It does put the reroll into it, so that is no more rerolls for the elves. Does make the pickup though. Makes the dodge, and again makes the wrong dodge. This dodge here is 2+. 1 2+ dodge and you're away. Here he's gone 3+, 2+. So he's thrown a harder dodge and an additional dodge into what was going to be just a 2+. So again, out that way. 2 GFIs. Again, risky without GFI, but probably necessary in this situation. But the elves have got the ball and they're kind of going the right direction. He hasn't blitzed. Well, I'd like to see this guy moved. I'd like to see this guy moved. I'd like to see this guy go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Get him in there. Could put him in there, which would actually give him options there. I'd like to see this guy out, but that's easier said than done. This guy could come out. Again, that's not tricky, so this might be a situation where 3+ dodge is more likely a good idea. This guy needs to be tagging this guy out. And this guy probably wants to come and tag out this thrower. Instead, that was the end of the turn. So that was it for the elf drive. Didn't get to do anything else. So first thing the orcs can do is that. Don't really mind that. 1, 2, 3. I'd like to see him block from here. Not here. Block from here, you can push down. Block from here, you're pushing that way. So in order to get better recovery, I like to push from here and block down. If you had more movement, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'd actually block from there and push straight back rather than diagonally, but you haven't got the movement with the Black Orc without rolling a GFI, and that's just an unnecessary dice. So you blitz there and you push this way. You want to leave your thrower free, because your thrower's got sure hands. So if you do knock this guy over and get the ball loose, this is the guy you want to go and fetch it. So that's the right play. Keeping this guy free. So you've got this guy you could activate. He's not really doing anything. I would like to see how it happens to the ball. So in terms of ordering, yeah, I think this is probably the right order. Take the blitz early, then you can deal with the ball afterwards if you've still got it. Okay, he does blitz from the wrong square. Does get the knockdown. Sure, he only pushes laterally rather than gaining a square. And then the ball bounces there. It's okay. That's worked out pretty well. I think that Black Orc probably had an extra square of movement. Did he? No, he 3 and then with the blitz, so he didn't. But 1, 2, oh, let him go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So GFI there to get the thrower on the ball. Pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what's sure what to do with this guy. I would be tempted to say take those blocks. 2, 3, 4. What should I do? I think, yeah, thrower definitely goes and fetches the ball. Take these blocks. You might even just want to bring this guy up and screen a bit in there. Okay, he does take the blocks. Should not have followed that one. And we'll just have a look and see what happens here. Okay, and he's followed again. Now, the reason not to follow there is because so the first time, you left a gap and the guy could be through. And then the same blocking here and following through leaves a gap here. So this guy can go out. So if you don't make the pickup, you've got a guy here that can come in. You've got a guy here, you've got a guy here. If your 2 guys were there and there, that guy getting out is trickier. So I don't like the follow-up there. Okay, push from the troll. And from that situation, I would have pushed this way. Got this guy free for a later action. Okay, like this. GFI is okay. But here comes the pickup. Fails the GFI to get the ball. Worth a reroll? Without doubt, that's definitely a reroll. Makes the pickup. And then the other GFI... a little risky to take it, but okay. This block here, not important. And this block here is more important, given the positioning of the ball. Managed to get both blitzes on the sidelines. Okay. So, can the elves do much here? Well, you've got a guy here. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit the ball for 1 dice. You've got a guy back here we haven't moved for a couple of turns. We've got a guy back here. Go 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. A GFI. We've actually did a GFI there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And a GFI and stood in that square there. This guy would get 2 dice on the ball. What is an alternative and probably the better, so slightly more risky option, is to dodge this guy out and stand him here. And then blitz with this guy on 2 GFIs. To again block from this direction, push the ball this way, and then you've got a blitzer here that can try and dodge out and fetch the ball. If you get the ball here, picked up and away, then the Orcs cannot catch from this position, because they've only got movement 4 pieces, and this guy's on the floor. So that is what the movement I would like to see. This guy's kind of stuck, this guy's kind of stuck. I dodged them out last, if at all. You could try the block there, which is, the block there is better odds than the dodge, but if it doesn't work, then you're just going to get surfed, and that's the same. The dodge there is the same odds as the block. Okay, whatever that was, it failed. It's another one for the dodge. And because the elves are out of rerolls, that is the turnover in straight away. But the action it was on was this guy here. Well, that was a 3+2+ dodge. Again, worth making, but towards the end of the turn. But because it was a 1 that was rolled, didn't matter what you did, because every single elf is based. So that turn was going to end on the first dice roll. Nothing else could have done there. That was just bad luck. Now this does leave the Orcs in a good strong position with 3 turns. Now getting the ball down here is important, but risking the dodge there, not. You know you're going to take this block. You're not going to try and dodge this Black Orc out, you are going to hit there. So I would have lined that up before making that dodge there. In fact, I would almost have lined that up as the first action. Take that block there. Whilst you've still got a reroll, because you definitely want this guy clear, then you can move here, then you've got a Black Orc here, you've got a Blitzer here, and you can free a Black Orc here in order to screen off with. Because then you follow that action up by then taking the block, so you've rolled an unnecessary dodge. Which worked, which was fine, but it was just an unnecessary dice roll. And given how many of the dodges we've seen the elves fail, risky. Okay. Now, rather than freeing up the players, he's actually taken advantage of the maximum number of blocks. Not a problem, but I would like to see the ball a little more protected. And this here, definitely the reason you would like more players available. Because you can't cover this guy, and this guy, and this guy. So the ball is completely open. Now this guy could stand here and mark this guy, could stand here and mark this guy. What I would have liked to see is actually, with only 3 players in a line, either this way or that way, ball carrier in the middle, a player here, or here and here. Because that means the elves cannot get an assist. So the maximum block they can get is 1 dice. But that requires them to take out both side players. If you can't tag out both side players, then you're likely to go uphill on the block dice. So it gives you the most safety. And the moment you can get this guy in, 1, 2, and this guy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you actually go 6 squares to stand him in there maybe, or here, doesn't matter. And this blitz guy does the blitz, 1, 2. Blitz there, try and bounce the ball there. But we are now thinking about stopping the Orcs from scoring, more so than we are can the Elves score here. That's just a 1 dice block that is unimportant. And this is just a push. And I would say like the players to be available there. This guy should be at least moved, probably into here. Now that was a lot of dice to roll to get that guy there, and that guy there could have made the blitz. Again, another unlucky dodge, but he rolled... What did he roll to get the other blitzer out? 2+ dodge, and then 2 go for it. So he rolled 3 lots of 2+ just to get over here, which wasn't necessary to do. You could have done it with this guy on 1 of those dice. So just again, another ordering issue, and then bad luck with the dice. Because elves should make more dodges than they are doing. Okay, just a push in there. Mark this guy out. That should be an early blitz. Okay, so he hasn't blitzed here, and all he's done is throw a block with the ball carrier. Now that is very important, because if we look at the turns, this is turn 15. So if there isn't an orc in scoring range at the end of this turn, then the orc cannot make a score at all. So if we look at this guy here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This guy is in scoring range, but that is the only player that is. If instead he'd blitzed with the Black Orc and pushed back here, he could have brought this guy forward and had this guy in scoring range, and you'd do that without having to roll any dice. Now, you haven't blitzed, so you could have blitzed, you could have done that and still blitzed with the ball carrier and made 4 squares of movement, but it'd be better just to hit with here and then run. But he doesn't bear in mind, this is the only player now that can score. So rather than do anything else this player, I think I'd bring him over here. A little bit closer, so he can't be pushed out of range. Not out of range of the thrower, so because you can hand the ball off next turn and score there. Instead what we see is he moved backwards. So that decision there has guaranteed the result to be 2-0. Looking to get the surf in there, which is fine. And then probably a bad dodge or an unlikely misclick to try and dodge a Black Orc on a 4+. Okay, now the game here is tied up. There is nothing the Elves can do to change the result. They don't have a scoring threat. So all they need to do is play this turn out however they see fit, really. They can have 2 dice on the ball. But if you've counted the squares, you know this isn't going to be an important action. And that's probably another 2+ failed it is. So, I've got to be honest and say, whilst there were some mistakes on both sides here, the Elves have been diced. They have not had fair dice. And that turn over finishes the game. We already knew from turn 15 that game was done. So we'll just play through the end of it, and that is the end of the match. Right, all we need to do now is jump back into mission screen, just like that, and say, well, that is the result. The Elves managed to pick up a level up with the lineman, who made the successful pass, then was looking to pick the MVP up. The Blitzer managed to get, well, the MVP, plus another 5 points. So I'm not quite sure where his other points came from. Oh, the intercept. So that guy made a touchdown and an intercept and got the MVP. So he's well on his way to his second skill. So he can get 1, and then he's only 6 points away from his second. So nice level ups. Both teams getting a skill early on. It's pretty handy. So that is match 1 in our analytics series for the Death on the Pitch season. We will be doing a few more of these. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you've got any questions on how the game played out or on the decisions I chose different to the players, then drop them in the comments below down here. Interested to see how you guys think if you'd have done something slightly different. Otherwise, until then guys, thank you very much and we'll see you soon.